Good morning, folks. Hope this finds you well. In my last video, the response to Richard McCook's 10 questions to the VC, I stated that I thought I should really try and shorten the length of my videos. So in an attempt to do that, I'm only going to show 7 items today. Hence the awful pun of the title of this video, 7 cent. Sorry about that. So without further waffle, let's get on with it. First one up is a CD rather than a vinyl record. Hope you'll forgive me for that. And it's this CD by the Eclectic Maybe Band, again Alors, and it's on the Discus label, which is a label mainly of jazz and avant jazz, set up by Martin Archer, the reeds player. The Eclectic Maybe Band is really a vehicle for the bassist Guy Sagers, who was the bassist in one of my favorite bands, the Belgian avant-prog band from Belgium, Univers Zero. And this is very much in the, as I say, avant-garde jazz vein. Half the tracks are group improvisations. So it's really just a vehicle for Guy and a whole bunch of friends. So every track has a basically different lineup. It's his third album under this moniker. I'd highly recommend this if you like more out there sort of jazz avant-prog. See what you think. The next 2 albums are bands that I've been a massive fan of for about 50 years. Yeah, probably 50 years. And they both come out very recently with new albums. Now, this first one, I must admit, I came to with some trepidation. And it's the new album by Yes, Mirror to the Sky. Now, 2 albums ago, they did the album Heaven and Earth, which, to be honest, was not a great album. In fact, a fairly poor one, a rushed one, which they should have spent more time on in the studio. Following that, in 2021, they did The Quest, which was a big improvement over Heaven and Earth, but still could have been better. Didn't really blow me away. So I came into this one, like I say, with a large amount of trepidation. The band at this point have no original members left, and the only real member from one of the classic period is Steve Howe on guitars. You've got John Davison on vocals, Jeff Downs, who was in the band on the Drama album, on keyboards. Billy Sherwood was in the band in the 90s for a brief period. has taken over from Chris Squire on bass, and following the sad passing of Alan White recently, Jay Shellen, who was their tour drummer for the last couple of years, is on drums. As I said, I wasn't expecting a lot of this, but I think this is a really, really good album. Probably one of their best since Drama. Yeah, I would probably put it in the top 3 since then. Thankfully, for once, they produce some tracks of decent length. You get a couple of 9-minute ones, an 8-minute track, and you get the title track at 14 minutes. Title track, which is probably their best song since Mind Drive, I think. Excellent stuff. Side 2 particularly is very strong. This is the problem with a lot of their recent ones is they were on an even keel. They were slow, ponderous songs, really. This is far more diverse. They rock out, particularly on something like Living Out Their Dream, which starts side 2, which reminds me of title track of Going for the One. Mirror to the Sky, as I said, is an epic 14-minute track. Circles of Time on the side 2 is a beautiful little acoustic sort of ballad that John Anderson might have done, but I think this is better than probably anything John Anderson did. It's a 2-album set. The second disc, like with the Quest, is basically a bonus disc, which only has 3 tracks. First one of which, Unknown Place, is a really good track. The second 2 are good, but not brilliant. Steve Howe is superb on this album. Jay Shellen, the drummer, while no Bill Bruford, does a really good job. John Davison's vocals, I know people say it's got to be John Anderson. No, I think he does a really good job. Does sound like John Anderson in places. Billy Sherwood does a really good job on bass. You can see why Chris Squire chose him. The only disappointment is Jeff Downes on keyboards. Now, we know he's not a flashy player, but he seems to be buried in the mix for most of the album, providing just sort of colour. It isn't until the bonus tracks that he really sort of stands out. But I think this is an excellent album, highly recommended. And if this is what they were to go out on, I think they would go out on a high. But it sounds like they're meaning to carry on. So really pleased. The other band that I've been a massive fan of for the last 50 years is the Mighty Hawkwind, and this is their new album, The Future Never Waits. I think this is something like their 35th studio album. Incredible. The band at this point is Dave Brock, who's been there since day one on vocals, guitar, keys and synths. Magnus Martin on vocals, guitar, keys and bass, who writes or co-writes a lot of the stuff with Brock. Doug McKinnon on bass. I'm going to say ever present, but he's probably been present since the 80s. Richard Chadwick on drums. And you have Paul Sandra on keys and synth, I first came across as a part of the Queen Elizabeth project with Julian Cope, electronic music project. And I think he was a member of Spiritualized. And again, this is an excellent album, probably their best over recent years, and they've been on a bit of a renaissance in recent years. I've seen a couple of reviews, one of which says it was the best of the last 20 years, another that says the reviewer said it was his favourite ever album. Starts off with a superb title track, The Future Never Waits, which is a 10-minute instrumental, which is sort of ambient, basically electronics, which gets into a lovely groove. You get tracks like They're So Easily Distracted, another 10-minute track, which starts off like a jazz album with piano, of which there's more on here than in any other Hawkwind album. But it's a pure jazz track at the start with piano, bass, drums, jazzy drums. Chadwick does an excellent job on this album, by the way, his drumming. It eventually morphs into a more space rock instrumental. There's a couple of tracks like The End and Rama the Prophecy, which are more your standard Hawkwind ones, but they seem to be taking more risks on this one, a bit more diverse. Again, highly recommended. And for bands like Hawkwind and Yes to come out with works this good at this point in their careers is excellent. Sticking with the prog theme, let's start a trip around the prog world. And first off, we go to Greece for Cicada's The Finest of Miracles. See this beautiful cover. Cicada are from Athens, Greece. This is, I think, their second album of 3 they've done. This is wonderful, wonderful symphonic prog with a very strong folk element and a British folk element, I think. The playing is just superb on this album, and I love the video, the vocals by Lydia Buduni. Look, Evangelia Cazzoni. Helps if you read the right part of the credits. I think her vocals are excellent. If you like folky symphonic prog, elements of Gentle Giant, Renaissance, elements of Genesis, this is probably one of my favourite albums of the year, to be honest, that I've heard. Even though it came out, I think, when did it come out? Originally 2015. Check them out. From Greece, we go to Brazil, and this is the band Caravella Escarlate, and this is their, the album's called Three, so it's their third album. Their most recent one came out in 2022 on the Norwegian Charisma label. Again, this is keyboard-driven symphonic prog of a really high quality. Very much influenced by, I think, Italian and classic English prog of the 70s. I've got the second album, and that's equally as good as this. I would highly recommend this to anybody that likes their 70s style prog. Wonderful stuff. Moving along quickly, because we're already at 13 minutes. We go to Japan, and this is the 2019 album by the Japanese band DeLoreans. I think this is the only album they've done, which is a great shame, because this is excellent sort of jazz prog. It has two main influences. One is the Canterbury scene, especially of bands like Machin Mole, National Health, the Hatfields, Softs. That's a very strong influence on here, as is Frank Zappa at his most jazzy, probably from the sort of Grand Wazoo, Waka Jawaka sort of period. Wonderful playing, wonderful cover as well. Like I said, I don't know if they're still around. They've only done this one album. Like I said, it was 2019. It's a shame if they were never to follow this up, because this is wonderful jazz fusion. finally, something a bit different. And I don't know why I haven't come across these before. This is the Rose City Band, and I think this is their 4th album, Garden Party. Now, the reason I say I'm surprised I haven't come across these is that they are the band formed by Ripley Johnson. Now, Ripley Johnson was guitarist in 2 of my favourite bands of recent years, Wooden Ships and Moon Duo, both of which I've seen live a couple of times and were excellent. This is his 4th album under the moniker of the Rose City Band. This is different from Moon Duo and Wooden Ships, who were sort of that sort of krautrockish influence, sort of psych rock. This is very much geared towards fans of the Grateful Dead. You hear the the mellow early 70s Dead all the way through this, the American Beauty, Working Man's Dead sort of Europe 72 feel. I love this. This is superb. I'm going to have to get the first 3 albums. So, hope you enjoyed seeing those, and I've kept it under 20 minutes. Mind you, once I add the needle drops on, it'll go up to probably about 25. So it's not, I haven't shortened it that much. Anyway, I hope you're all having a good week. Hope you're all enjoying the sort of weather we're getting here in Cumbria, which is lovely this last week. So I will hopefully see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.